You trace the intricate filigree of the antique data projector, your thumb brushing over a section of its casing where the crystalline lattice has fractured, the delicate memory strands frayed. It sits on your workbench, a relic from a time before the Lumina Lighthouse pulsed with such blinding, incessant data traffic, before pixelated preservation became the bedrock of your world. The comforting weight of your data tablet rests in your left hand, its cool, smooth surface a familiar anchor as you scroll through schematics, searching for a phantom part, a forgotten repair protocol. Your goal, a quiet hum beneath the cacophony of the lighthouse, is to mend this damaged heirloom, integral to your family's story, a silent witness to a world that lives now only in fragmented data streams. The air in your workshop, usually a calm eddy amidst the lighthouse's ceaseless flow, crackles with a subtle anxiety. News feeds, normally a predictable stream of updates on optimized data routes and successful environmental reconstructions, have begun to stutter, to contradict themselves. The narrative node, the very heart of the Lumina Lighthouse that processes and broadcasts all public knowledge, is telling conflicting stories. One moment, it hails the success of the new Viridian Canyon project, a vibrant, digitally recreated ecosystem. Then, minutes later, reports a critical systems failure in its central biomes. Confusion ripples through the city's datanets, manifesting as agitated chatter in the public forums, a low thrum of unease that even reaches the isolated calm of your workshop. You pick up a tiny, almost microscopic data solder, examining its tip under a magnifying lens. This antique projector, passed down through generations, once displayed vivid, pre-collapse images of true, living forests, shimmering oceans, breathing mountains. Your grandmother used to say it held the essence of memory, a direct link to the physical world, untainted by digital interpretation. Mending, it isn't just a familial duty. It feels like a necessary anchor in a world increasingly untethered by the narrative node's erratic broadcasts. A soft chime from your tablet pulls your gaze away from the delicate work. It's Talan Maris, your fellow Joycode journalist, a burst of bright, optimistic energy in a world often shrouded in the complexities of data. Their profile icon, a stylized image of interlocking data leaves, glows warmly. "You've seen the node today," Talan's voice, usually a clear, melodious stream, holds a tremor of concern. It's a mess. Half the broadcasts are incoherent. Just now, it declared the echoing glade initiative a complete success, then warned against venturing into its unstable data fields. People are getting agitated, you sigh, setting down the solder. I've been trying to ignore it, Talan, but it's hard. Even the repair manuals for this old relic are pulling up conflicting data streams. You gesture vaguely towards the projector. One moment, it recommends a class beta power conduit, the next, a full system bypass. Talan hums, a thoughtful sound. It's more than just random glitches, I think. This morning, I was trying to pull data for my coexistence protocol, you know, how the various forest creatures in the pixelated preserves can better understand each other's data signatures. And the node kept feeding me conflicting behavioral patterns for a single species. A sun-winged flicker was simultaneously described as both solitary and highly communal. That's unsettling, you admit, the comforting weight of your tablet momentarily feeling heavier, weighted by the growing uncertainty. The method of digitally archiving and recreating endangered natural environments was hailed as humanity's greatest triumph, a way to reclaim what was lost. If the very foundation of that knowledge was being corrupted, what did that mean for the preservation itself? For anything? Unsettling is an understatement, Talan replies, their voice gaining a firmer edge. It feels deliberate, like someone is messing with the source code, or there's a deeper systemic rot. Talan's goal, to help all forest creatures and beings understand each other better, relies entirely on the integrity of the Lumina Lighthouse's data. If the node itself was compromised, their work, and indeed the entire concept of peaceful digital coexistence, was at risk. You look at your antique projector, its dormant lens reflecting the soft glow of your workshop. It occurs to you that the pure, unadulterated environmental data it once held might be the only true reference point left. But to access that, to mend its core, you need more than just schematics. You need a way to stabilize the unstable data streams, perhaps even to tap into the foundational knowledge that governed the lighthouse in its early days. The thought of the Lumina key, a crystalline key rumored to unlock hidden, ancient data streams, flickers in your mind. It's a legend, almost a myth, but suddenly it feels like the only logical path. Talan, you say, a new resolve hardening your voice. I think I need to look for something deeper, something that can cut through all this noise. I'm going to start researching the Lumina key. A beat of silence from Talan's end, then a sharp intake of breath. The Lumina key. That's a deep dive. The stories say it's more fable than fact, a kind of master access token from the old world protocols. But if anyone can dig through the archives, it's you, Chronicle Keeper's confidant. Their voice is still tinged with worry, but there's a spark of admiration too. Be careful, though. If it exists, others might be looking for it. And given the state of the node, not everyone has pure intentions. You nod, though Talan can't see it. You feel a prickle of apprehension. Hesitation is a familiar companion, a caution that often keeps you from taking risks, even when necessary for discovery. But this isn't just about your family antique anymore. This is about the integrity of memory itself, the very bedrock of your world. Your research takes you deep into the Lumina Lighthouse's labyrinthine archival levels, data nodes humming with the accumulated knowledge of centuries. The air grows cooler here, heavy with the silent weight of information. You spend hours sifting through ancient encryption logs, forgotten system manifests, and anecdotal historical records, the comforting weight of your data tablet, a constant presence in your hand. Its screen glows with faded diagrams and cryptic text, a stark contrast to the vivid, real-time data streams outside. One afternoon, a particularly obscured archive entry, flagged with a low priority, myth folklore tag, catches your eye. It speaks of the Lumina key not as a physical object, but as a harmonizer of dissonant data, a crystalline construct capable of rethreading fractured narratives. The description is vague, steeped in metaphor, but it also mentions specific energy signatures, a unique frequency that resonates with something called the Viridian Nexus. Just as you begin cross-referencing Viridian Nexus, a new data alert flashes across your tablet. It's from the lighthouse's central security systems, an automated notification of unauthorized data routing in a restricted section of the old Harvest District archives. The Harvest District, where ancient agricultural data was stored, was notoriously unstable, full of deprecated protocols and forgotten pathways. Why would anyone be there? Driven by a nascent curiosity and a growing suspicion that your search for the Lumina key wasn't as solitary as you'd hoped, you decide to investigate. You follow the security alert's data trail, navigating increasingly decrepit digital corridors. The pristine, clean lines of the Lumina Lighthouse slowly give way to flickering data ghosts, holographic projections of long-abandoned servers, and the melancholic hum of forgotten algorithms. You arrive at a section of the Harvest District where the air, usually still and heavy, vibrates with an unfamiliar energy. The digital flora here, normally dormant and monochromatic, pulses with erratic, glowing light. And then you see her, Briar Mkais. She's crouched by a crumbling data conduit, her fingers flying across a customized data splicer, a complex, bespoke piece of hardware that hums with a dangerous intensity. Her presence is a stark contrast to the decaying digital environment around her. She wears practical, dark clothing, her hair pulled back tightly, a smudge of synthetic oil on her cheek. Her movements are sharp, efficient, radiating a fierce determination. You recognize her vaguely from public forums, the aspiring hearth-tender, known for her passionate posts about reclaiming authentic sustenance, about the lost art of truly nourishing the body and spirit, not just processing synthetic nutrients. You dismissed her as a fringe element, an idealist fixated on nostalgic, impractical ideals. But here, she is not idealizing. She is doing. She seems to be rerouting massive data streams, pulling information from the old Harvest District and sending it somewhere. The conduit she's working on groans under the strain, digital sparks flying, briefly illuminating the intense focus in her eyes. The comforting weight of your data tablet feels suddenly heavy, a silent observer to something both audacious and alarming. "What are you doing?" you ask, your voice echoing in the stale digital air. Your heart thrums with a mix of surprise and irritation. Her methods are clearly disruptive, bypassing official channels, potentially destabilizing these already fragile archives. Briar flinches, her head snapping up. Her eyes, dark and piercing, narrow as they land on you. There's a flash of defensiveness, almost hostility, before she regains her composure. "Just trying to find what's been hidden," she says, her voice low and husky, tinged with a raw, earthy quality that stands out amidst the lighthouse's processed tones. These old archives, they still hold genuine wisdom, not just the sanitized, pre-approved drivel the node spews. Your rerouting core data streams. You counter, stepping closer, your hands instinctively reaching for your tablet, though you're not sure what you'd do with it. This sector is unstable. You could cause a cascading failure, corrupting centuries of agricultural knowledge. She scoffs, a dismissive sound. Knowledge or propaganda? You chronicle keepers are so focused on preserving the narrative, you forget to question if the narrative itself is true. I'm searching for truth, for something real, a lost recipe specifically. The sun-dipped berry jam. She pronounces each word with a reverence that borders on obsession. A legendary recipe, said to hold the very essence of warmth and vitality, lost when the old world faded. A jam recipe, you repeat, an incredulous note in your voice. Your brow furrows. Is she serious? Is this massive, destabilizing data heist for a recipe? Your goal, to mend your family's antique and stabilize the node, feels suddenly monumental compared to her seemingly trivial quest. Yet, the intensity in her eyes suggests this is far from trivial for her. It's more than just a recipe, Briar says, straightening up, her hands still hovering over her splicer. It's a connection, a lineage. My ancestors cherished it. It represents the original harvest, the authentic taste of the world before everything became pixelated. She sweeps a hand around the flickering digital trees. These pixelated preserves, they're simulacra, beautiful perhaps, but they lack the soul. The jam recipe, I believe, contains a key to understanding that lost essence. And it's buried deep in data streams only the Lumina key can access. Your breath catches. The Lumina key. She knows about it. And she believes it's vital for her own goal, a goal that seems diametrically opposed to yours. You want to preserve, to restore the integrity of the digital world, using its tools. She seems to want to transcend it, to find something beyond its reach. This is your central conflict, simmering beneath the surface. Two seemingly reasonable goals, one seeking digital restoration, the other tangible, ancient truth, now directly clashing over the same mythical artifact. The Lumina key is meant to stabilize data, not raid it, you say, your voice firm, trying to mask the surprise. And your methods are jeopardizing the very data you claim to value. Briar just shakes her head, a grim smile touching her lips. Sometimes you have to break things to mend them, Chronicle Keeper. Sometimes you have to dig past the curated surface to find the truth buried underneath. I won't let another generation forget what real sustenance tastes like, or what real connection feels like. With a final, decisive movement, she yanks a data cable, and the conduit groans, then settles, a faint orange glow remaining. She gathers her equipment, eyes still fixed on you. You're looking for the key too, aren't you? I can see it in your eyes. Well, may the fastest current guide us. And with that, she melts into the shifting digital shadows of the Harvest District, leaving you amidst the unsettling hum of disturbed data, the comforting weight of your tablet doing little to soothe the growing unease in your chest. The conflict between you and Briar escalates swiftly. The narrative node's confusion intensifies, exacerbated, you're certain, by Briar's increasingly aggressive data mining. She's not just in the Harvest District anymore. Reports from Talan, relayed through encrypted channels, indicate her digital fingerprints are showing up in other deprecated archives. The atmospheric cycles data bank, the terraforming protocols, even the arboreal memory project, where the data signatures of ancient trees are stored. Each time, she's leaving a trail of disrupted data, flickering screens, and fractured information. The pixelated preserves, once pristine digital recreations, begin to show signs of strain. Holographic fauna flicker in and out of existence. Digital rivers flow upstream for a few agonizing seconds, and the lush canopy of the Viridian Canyon sometimes shifts into stark, geometric patterns. Panic begins to ripple through the populace. Talan Maris becomes your constant companion, virtually and sometimes physically, as you both try to track Briar and understand the node's escalating errors. Talan, with their inherent ability to bridge understanding, tries to communicate with the scattered communities being affected by the node's errors, broadcasting calming messages and sharing verified data. But even Talan's optimism is wearing thin. She's like a digital wildfire, Talan says one evening, their holographic projection pacing your workshop. You're poring over a holographic map of the lighthouse, red lines indicating Briar's latest incursions. Every time she touches an archive, a new set of contradictory narratives bursts forth from the node. Just today, it claimed the Whispering Willow Grove was both a sanctuary of peace and a breeding ground for parasitic algorithms. She's clearly desperate, you murmur, circling a specific node on the map. But she's not just looking for a recipe anymore, Talan. She's targeting systems that might be linked to the Lumina key's rumored abilities: data harmonization, narrative rethreading. She believes the key is the only way to get her recipe, and she's willing to risk widespread chaos to get it. You spend long, exhaustive hours piecing together fragments of the key's history, scouring data dumps from the era of the lighthouse's construction. Your skills at solving riddles, a talent you rarely show off, prove surprisingly useful. The older archives are not just databases, they're encrypted with symbolic logic, riddles woven into the very fabric of their security. You find yourself deciphering ancient linguistic puzzles, matching patterns of thought from a forgotten age. One particularly dense data cluster, hidden within a discarded data log from the lighthouse's chief architect, finally yields a breakthrough. It's a fragment of a poem, a series of seemingly nonsensical lines about a heart of crystalline light, and a song that threads the scattered thoughts of giants. But nestled within the poetic verse is a series of precise coordinates, not for a physical location, but for a unique data signature, a resonance frequency. This, you are certain, is the true Viridian nexus, the vibrational key to locating the Lumina key itself. The coordinates point to a hidden sublevel deep within the lighthouse's forgotten core, a place referred to only as the 0-point archive. Your pulse quickens. This is it, the real lead. But the poem also speaks of a guardian slumber, hinting at a powerful, ancient security system. The path to the Lumina key will be perilous, requiring precise navigation through volatile data streams and complex security protocols. You hold the data fragment, its iridescent glow reflecting in your eyes. This is a risk, a big one. Your inherent flaw, your tendency to hesitate, to meticulously plan every contingency, makes you pause. Should you share this immediately with Talan? The node's chaos is escalating. Every moment counts. But sharing, it means potentially exposing Talan to the very danger you're about to face. And what if Briar intercepts the information? You consider going alone. The fewer people who know, the safer. But Talan is a joy code journalist, a master of communication, and their insights into the Viridian Nexus and its role in digital ecology could be invaluable. You finally decide to encode the coordinates and the riddle, preparing to send it to Talan with strict instructions for a secure, in-person rendezvous. You formulate a complex plan. Talan would help you analyze the Guardian Slumber protocol, while you would focus on navigating the Zero-Point Archive's physical architecture. But just as you are about to transmit the secure message, a new alert flashes on your tablet. It's Talan, but their message is urgent, almost frantic. I need you at the narrative node's main server room. Briar's here. She's trying to access the core regulators. She says she's found a backdoor related to her recipe, something that will reset the node's integrity, but it's causing massive data surges. The node is collapsing. Your blood runs cold. Briar is at the node's heart, using her disruptive methods, convinced she's doing good. And Talan, with their trusting nature and desire to help all beings understand each other, must have stumbled into her path. You hesitate. The Lumina key coordinates are in your hand. The chance to solve everything is within reach. But Talan is in danger, and Briar is actively destabilizing the system that the key is meant to fix. Your mind races, weighing the options. Go to Talan, potentially sacrificing your lead on the key to mitigate immediate damage, or prioritize the key, hoping it will be the ultimate solution, but leaving Talan and the node vulnerable in the meantime. Your hesitation, a habit deeply ingrained, wins. You decide to secure the coordinates first, to encrypt them one last time, to ensure they wouldn't fall into the wrong hands. It would only take a few more minutes, you tell yourself, a brief delay, and then you would rush to Talan's aid. You rationalize it. The Lumina key is the solution, not a temporary fix. Protecting its location is paramount. You focus, fingers flying across your tablet, adding layers of symbolic encryption to the coordinate data, thinking through every possible angle of attack. The rhythmic click of your inputs is the only sound in your workshop, a counterpoint to the distant, rising hum of the struggling lighthouse. By the time you finally finish, a sense of quiet triumph mixed with growing dread, another message pings. This one is from Talan, but it's fragmented, desperate. She used me, a backdoor, not what I thought, the key, she knows, run. The message cuts out abruptly, leaving only a digital echo. A cold, hard knot forms in your stomach. No. You scramble out of your workshop, racing through the Lumina Lighthouse's gleaming corridors. The air, thick with the smell of ozone and the faint, acrid scent of overloaded processors. The typically vibrant holographic displays of data traffic flicker wildly, showing alarming red spikes and flatlining segments. People in the corridors look up at you, their faces etched with fear and confusion, clutching their own data tablets, trying to make sense of the erratic news feeds. You arrive at the narrative node's main server room, the air thick with digital static. The massive, crystalline core of the node, normally a gentle, pulsing blue, now strobes with angry red and sickly green light. Briar is there, standing before a large, exposed data conduit, her back to you. Her data splicer, augmented now with crude, glowing energy conduits, is jammed into the node's maintenance port, drawing immense power. Talan is slumped against a console nearby, their face pale, eyes wide with horror and self-reproach. There's a small, intricate data drive clutched in their hand, its light fading. Talan, you gasp, rushing to their side. They look up at you, eyes brimming with tears. "I'm sorry," they whisper, their voice barely audible over the node's distressed hum. "She came to me. She said she had found a way to cleanse the node, to purify the data streams, so that all beings could truly understand each other. She showed me a fragment of what she called the sun-dipped berry code, a pattern of harmony. She said it needed a specific energy conduit, an ancient routing protocol, to activate it. I thought it would help. I thought it would help everyone." Talan gestures weakly to the fading data drive. "I knew a backroute, a deprecated protocol that could bypass the node's primary firewalls. I showed her. I helped her get into the core regulator. Betrayal. The word echoes in your mind, sharp and cold. But it's not Talan who betrayed you. It's your own hesitation. Your caution, your inability to take the immediate risk, allowed Briar to exploit Talan's innocent desire to help. Talan, the kindred communicator, had been manipulated, their good intentions twisted into a weapon. Briar turns then, a triumphant, almost manic grin on her face. Her eyes glitter with a fierce, desperate hope. "It's working," she exclaims, oblivious to the anguish on your face or Talan's. "The berry code is flooding the system. It's cleansing the impurities, stripping away the lies. The Lumina key told me." "The Lumina key," you ask, your voice hoarse. Briar gestures to her splicer, which now pulses with a soft, crystalline glow. A small, intricate crystalline key, no larger than your thumb, is lodged within it, humming with barely contained power. The Lumina key. She found it. She must have deduced its location from the very data streams she was disrupting. Your hesitation cost you. "It led me here," Briar declares, her voice rising above the struggling node. "The ancient protocols pointed to this specific backroute, the one your friend kindly showed me. The key amplified the berry code, opening the path. Soon the true narratives will flow. The truth of the sun-dipped berry jam, the truth of authentic sustenance, will be revealed, and the world will finally be truly nourished." But as she speaks, the node's core regulator screams, a high-pitched digital wail. The pixelated preserves, visible on the main diagnostic screen, are no longer just flickering. They are collapsing. The vibrant greens and blues of the Viridian Canyon dissolve into chaotic pixel dust. The echoing glade shatters like glass. The digital environments, the very legacy of pixelated preservation, are vanishing. The stakes are no longer just about conflicting narratives or a damaged antique. The fate of the world, your digital world, hinges on this moment. Breyer, in her zeal to uncover a deeper truth, is inadvertently destroying the very fabric of existence, convinced she's saving it. Breyer, stop, you yell, your voice raw. You're destroying everything. The key isn't a weapon, it's a harmonizer. You're overloading the node with incompatible data. Incompatible, she snarls, turning fully to face you, her expression hardening. It's pure. It's the original essence. You chronicle keepers have diluted everything with your filtered, processed narratives. The pixelated preserves are a lie, a digital band-aid over a gaping wound. This code, the berry code, it's the antidote. You look at Talan, who shakes their head, tears streaming down their face. I thought I was helping, they choke out. She said the key would help the forest creatures to understand the lost songs of the ancestors. The Lumina key in Breyer's splicer glows brighter, throbbing with uncontrolled energy, and the nodes, wails intensify. The entire server room begins to shake, loose data cables thrashing like angry serpents. You realize with sickening clarity that the Lumina key, while powerful, is only as good as the intention and understanding of its wielder. Breyer's berry code, while perhaps genuinely ancient, is being applied in a destructive way. Your antique, the damaged projector. It holds the original images, the pure, unadulterated data of the natural world before the collapse. It holds the context for Breyer's ancestors, sun-dipped berry jam, not just the recipe, but its true significance. You need the key, not to fight Breyer, but to activate your antique, to restore the true context, to harmonize the Lumina node before everything is lost. Your hesitation is gone, replaced by a cold, burning resolve. The Lumina Lighthouse itself seems to groan, a deep, resonant hum that vibrates through the very floor beneath your feet. Alarms blare, mixing with the frantic shouts of distant security personnel. The magnificent central chamber of the narrative node, where the final confrontation with Breyer Mkais unfolds, is a maelstrom of light and sound. The air is thick with the acrid scent of ozone and the phantom tang of burning data. The vast, crystalline core of the node, usually a steady, calming beacon, now pulses with violent, chaotic colors. Around you, the walls, typically shimmering with seamless holographic projections of the pixelated preserves, flicker wildly. One moment, you're standing in a lush, emerald forest, digital rain pattering softly. The next, the forest dissolves into a blizzard of fragmented pixels, sharp geometric patterns, and then, horrifyingly, pure black nothingness, a void that threatens to swallow all light. Breyer stands at the epicenter of this digital storm, before the glowing Lumina key. The crystalline key, now fully integrated into a larger, crude interface she's constructed from salvaged server components and her custom splicer, throbs with an unstable, blinding light. She has found it, brought it here, and is attempting to force its power onto the node, guided by her deeply held, yet tragically misguided, conviction. Talan, recovering slightly, pushes themselves up, scrambling to your side, their face etched with fear and regret. You have to stop her, they whisper, clutching your arm. She's not just trying to fix the node, she's trying to override it. She believes the Lumina key will amplify her berry code and transform the entire lighthouse into a single, pure narrative, but it's tearing everything apart. She thinks she's saving it, you murmur, your gaze locked on Briar. She genuinely believes her berry code is the antidote, and the key is the delivery mechanism. Your own antique, the damaged projector, is clutched in your free hand, its fractured lens reflecting the chaotic light. You need to connect it to the key, but how? Briar is actively engaged with the key, manipulating its energy. Briar, her back still partially to you, screams, the truth of the sun-dipped berry will illuminate everything. No more filters, no more lies. The ancient warmth will return. She thrusts her hands forward, and a wave of raw, unfiltered data energy blasts outwards from the key, causing nearby consoles to explode in showers of sparks and glass. This isn't just a fight for physical control. It's a clash of ideals, a desperate battle for the soul of the digital world. Briar believes in a fundamental, unadulterated truth, a return to what she perceives as an original, purer state. You believe in preserving the nuanced, complex evolution of knowledge, in harmonizing and restoring rather than overriding. Briar, wait, you shout, stepping forward, your voice surprisingly steady amidst the cacophony. Your berry code might be ancient, powerful, but you're not understanding its full context. You're destroying the very thing you claim to want to save. She whips around, her face illuminated by the chaotic glow of the key, her eyes wide, manic. Context. What context do I need for purity? The Chronicle Keepers and your precious, pixelated preserves have stripped the world of its essence. This is the only way to bring it back. The Lumina key, a complex crystalline structure pulsating with raw, untamed data, is at the heart of her interface. It's protected by a flickering energy shield, a feedback loop from the node itself, struggling to defend against Briar's aggressive input. To access it, you need to break through the shield to bypass her controls. You remember the riddles, the symbolic logic you used to find the key, your secret skill. The lighthouse was built with layers of such ancient, almost poetic encryption. The key itself, a harmonizer of dissonant data, surely has its own protective protocols, not just brute force. The key is a riddle, Briar, you shout over the din. It responds to harmony, not force. Briar laughs, a harsh, brittle sound. You and your riddles. I have the berry code. It's the ultimate riddle solver, the primordial truth. She pushes more energy into her device, and the node's core sputters, a faint, sickly green light flickering at its very heart. No, you say, your eyes scanning the chaotic data flows emanating from the key. You see patterns, faint, almost subliminal, in the chaos. They're not numeric or code-based, but a symbolic sequence, reminiscent of the ancient glyphs your antique projector once displayed. The berry code might be a key, but it's not the only key. It's a single verse in a much larger song. You hold up your antique projector. This artifact, it holds the original song, the true narrative of your ancestors' world, the context of their sun-dipped berry jam. You point to a specific point on the Lumina key, where the chaotic data seems to loop back on itself, forming a brief, almost imperceptible symbol. It's one you've seen before, hidden within the fractured lens of your own antique. Talan, you instruct, your voice sharp, decisive. I need you to generate a frequency override on that main console. A low-level, resonant hum, not to attack, but to calm the data feedback loop. Just enough to create a momentary breach in that shield around the key. Talan, their fear replaced by a flicker of hope, nods, scrambling to the nearest functional console. Their fingers fly across the keys, quickly inputting a complex series of commands. The kindred communicator, always seeking understanding, now seeking to harmonize. Meanwhile, your eyes remain fixed on the Lumina key, specifically on the patterns within its chaotic glow. You begin to trace, with your mind's eye, a specific sequence, a symbolic dance. It's a riddle not of words, but of energy and intention. The guardian's slumber from the poem wasn't a physical entity, but a conceptual lock. Briar, sensing your intent, turns her full attention to you, unleashing another torrent of raw data energy. You brace, shielding yourself with your arm, the antique projector clutched tightly. The attack sends you reeling back, but you hold your ground. You waste your time, Chronicle Keeper, she snarls. The key responds only to the pure will of the berry code. But as Talan's low frequency hum begins to emanate from the console, a subtle shift occurs. The energy shield around the Lumina key flickers, a momentary gap opening in its chaotic flow. It's barely there, a window of only a few seconds. Now, your chance. You thrust the antique projector forward, aiming its fractured lens at the vulnerable point on the key. But you don't activate the projector. Instead, you focus, pouring your will into the riddle, into the symbolic sequence you've deciphered. You mentally project the solution, a precise, rhythmic pulse of intent, like a master safecracker listening for the tumblers. You aren't forcing the key, you're speaking to it in its own ancient language. A low, resonant thrum vibrates from the Lumina key. The chaotic energy shield around it dissipates, not with a burst, but with a gentle sigh. The Lumina key, now accessible, hums with a more stable, albeit still powerful, light. Briar's eyes widen in disbelief. No, she screams, lunging forward, attempting to reclaim control. But you are faster. With the shield gone, you quickly connect the antique projector to a previously hidden universal data port on the side of the Lumina key. The connection is imperfect due to the antique's damage, but it's enough. A jolt of energy courses through your hand. The antique projector flickers to life, its ancient gears groaning, its fractured lens glowing with a faint, warm light. Instead of projecting images, it begins to absorb energy from the Lumina key, not to consume, but to read it. The key, in turn, seems to respond, feeding raw, undifferentiated data into the antique. A high-pitched whine builds in Briar's splicer as the Lumina key begins to resist her override, drawn instead to the antique. Her face contorts in frustration. What are you doing? It's rejecting the berry code. It's not rejecting it, Briar, you say, your voice strained as the energy pulses through you. It's harmonizing it. It's finding its true context. Then the twist. As the Lumina key channels energy into your antique, a new holographic projection bursts forth from the antique's newly mended lens, not just onto the walls, but into the very air of the chamber, weaving itself into the chaotic narrative nodes display. It's a recipe, but it's not just a list of ingredients. It's an intricate, swirling galaxy of data, molecular structures, specific microbial strains, atmospheric pressure readings, soil compositions, solar radiation indexes, all interwoven with ancient glyphs and patterns of seasonal shifts. It's the entire ecosystem required to cultivate and process the sun-dipped berries, a complete blueprint for sustainable, thriving natural abundance. And within that holographic blueprint, embedded deep within the intricate data weave, is the sun-dipped berry jam recipe, not as a simple culinary instruction, but as a complex, self-replicating algorithm. This algorithm, when properly understood and applied to a stable data system, is designed to perform a complete system-wide integrity check, a purification and authentication protocol. It's a master key for systemic health. The holographic projection also shows a visual representation of what happens if this berry code is applied without its ecological context. A destabilization of all connected systems, precisely what Briar has been inadvertently causing. Briar stares, her eyes fixed on the projection, her furious expression slowly melting into one of profound shock, then dawning realization. The recipe, she whispers, her voice losing its edge, replaced by a tremor of understanding. It was never just about the jam. It was a guide, a protocol my ancestors. They weren't just making food. They were coding for the health of the entire world, preserving a fundamental wisdom for systemic balance. The Lumina key, now fully connected to your antique, begins to glow with a steady, serene light. The chaotic flickering of the narrative node's core subsides. The berry code, now given its proper context by the antique, is no longer an overriding force, but a harmonizing one. It flows into the node, not to destroy, but to verify, to authenticate, to rethread the fractured narratives using its inherent integrity protocol. The contradictory stories cease. The frantic alarms silence. The pixelated preserves on the main screen, which were on the brink of digital oblivion, slowly, miraculously, begin to recoalesce. The Viridian Canyon shimmers back into existence, vibrant and whole. The echoing glade returns, its digital flora swaying gently. Briar, tears streaming down her face, disconnects her splicer from the Lumina key interface. I was trying to save it, she chokes out, looking at the holographic blueprint. I didn't understand. I saw the decline, the loss of realness, and I thought the jam recipe was the only pure thing left, a tangible connection. I thought it was being actively suppressed, hidden by your processed data. I thought the key would help me reclaim its power, to force the world back to its original truth. You look at her, a profound sense of empathy washing over you. She wasn't an antagonist seeking power or destruction. She was an aspiring hearth tender, striving with every fiber of her being to rekindle a lost warmth, a forgotten truth. But her methods, born of desperation and incomplete knowledge, had nearly brought ruin. She was trying to save the world, just from a different, less informed perspective. The core misunderstanding between you had been the interpretation of truth and the means to achieve preservation. The antique, you say softly, gesturing to the projector, which is still connected to the Lumina key, its lens now projecting a stable, shimmering image of a pristine, thriving, sun-dipped berry patch, complete with its intricate ecological web. It held the original schematics, the comprehensive data on how your ancestors understood balance. My family preserved it because they knew it contained the context for what was lost, the full story behind the fragmented data. I wanted to mend it to find that story, to understand the truth of our past, and now it has revealed the truth of your own. Talan, their face streaked with tears, but now glowing with renewed hope, comes forward. The kindred communicator's goal, they whisper, gazing at the holographic blueprint, is to help all beings understand each other better. Even conflicting data, even conflicting intentions. This is the ultimate communication, the narrative of true harmony. Together, you and Briar work to finalize the synchronization. The Lumina key, now acting as a true harmonizer, integrates the berry code's authentication protocol, guided by the complete ecological data from your antique, into the narrative node. The node's core settles into a steady, brilliant blue, broadcasting consistent, verified narratives across the lighthouse. The pixelated preserves stabilize, more vibrant and authentic than ever before, because now their digital lifeblood is being verified and maintained by the true, sun-dipped berry algorithm. In the days that follow, the Lumina Lighthouse slowly heals. The conflicting stories from the narrative node are gone, replaced by a steady stream of coherent, verified information. Talan Maris, now collaborating closely with Briar, becomes instrumental in broadcasting the newly harmonized narratives, explaining the complex interplay of data, the historical context of the berry code, and the restored integrity of the pixelated preserves. They help the inhabitants of the lighthouse understand not just the what, but the why of the crisis, fostering a deeper sense of community and trust. Your antique projector, fully mended by the Lumina key's harmonization, sits proudly in your workshop, no longer a broken relic, but a powerful beacon. It projects a constant, gentle loop of the sun-dipped berry ecological blueprint, a living testament to the restored knowledge. It serves as a reminder that history, in its fullest context, is the ultimate guide. Briar Mkais, no longer the aggressive data miner, channels her passion into a new initiative, hearth tender protocols. She uses the newly understood berry code and the comprehensive data from your antique to develop new, authentic sustenance protocols, ensuring that the digital world not only preserves its past, but genuinely nourishes its future. She even collaborates with the Pixelated Preservation Project, helping to refine their digital ecosystems with the authentic principles of balance and renewal. The comfortable weight of your data tablet in your hand now feels lighter, filled with accurate, trustworthy information. The world outside, once teetering on the brink of digital collapse, is vibrant and alive. You, the Chronicle Keeper's confidant, have not only mended your family's antique, but have helped mend the very fabric of your world, proving that true discovery often lies in understanding, in connecting seemingly disparate threads, and sometimes in taking the risk to bridge the divide, even when hesitation has been your oldest companion. The Lumina Lighthouse shines brighter than ever, not just a beacon of processed knowledge, but a testament to restored wisdom, guiding data traffic with the clarity of a newly understood, harmonized truth.